learn how to do, I couldn't take the bad days.
As he matured and he got older, he got to appreciate the game for what it was, winning and losing. He's learned to leave racing at the racetrack.
New attitude, a better diet, and faster horses. It was all coming together. Pincay craved another Derby win, but needed a horse, which he found in a most unlikely place, and reached out to a friend.
Lafitte had a tape. The agent told me that he wanted to show me. You know, the tape looked great. You know, the horse is a big, long, striding horse, you know. They just say that there's never been a horse run this fast before in Panama. So I actually bought the horse and brought him up here.
With Indian Express, obviously he's an improving colt. And Bob Baffert, he's an absolute wizard with sophomore horses. He is, to a 3-year-old thoroughbred, what Leo Mazzoni is to starting pitchers. He knows how to get them cranked and ready to fire that first Saturday in May.
So the team was set. Indian Express was on the Baffert plan, and Pincay hoped to ride him all the way to the Derby. That was until the odds caught up with him in March.
Request in the pink. Trampers 2 up to take him on. McManus is losing ground. Road Adjusters now get full. Trampers 2 went down there.
I had no chance to think of nothing. It just happened so quick, and all of a sudden I just hit the ground. I was very lucky that the horse almost rolled on top of me. He almost hit me. You know, he just missed me. So I could have been paralyzed.
99% of the time, with this type of injury, he would have ended up in the chair. His physical makeup kept the bones from breaking in and severing the spinal cord. They broke out. And if not for his physical conditioning, this could have been a lot worse.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. As 20-year-old Tyler Bays gets an opportunity of a lifetime, his first Derby mount, replacing a legend. Today marks the end of an era. Now in retirement, Pincay remains thankful for his one trip to the Derby Winner's Circle.
I wish I could have that experience again, you know, but one for me was enough.
This was all his doing, and he pushed me to buy this horse, so the only thing missing from this is Lafitte not riding him. This is his Derby.
And there is the horse Indian Express, the horse that Lafitte Pincay would have ridden. Now in retirement, that halo holding his head in place came off a couple of days ago. He's on the mend, and his record, of course, is one that will stand for a while, one would guess. Bob Baffert, his wife Jill. Here is the career of Lafitte Pincay. And one thing that was heard throughout the backstretch this week leading up to the Derby, all the top trainers saying, young riders, look at Lafitte Pincay, try to emulate him if you want to know what being a top jockey is all about. All right, the horses are on the walk over. We'll join them when we come back to Churchill Downs. The Churchill Downs Oval beneath the Twin Spires, the 129th Kentucky Derby. Let's recheck the odds. That's what I'm talking about. Peace Rule still at 7. And 6-1 on Buddy Gill, 9-1 Indian Express. Empire Maker still 7-2. And 10 Most Wanted at 5-1. And the man of the hour, Bobby Frankel, has begun the walkover, and Donna Barton is with him.
Bobby, you've won 3 graded stakes on the card so far today. You said when this horse was loading into the gate for the Florida Derby that you suddenly were overcome with a premonition that not only he would win, but he would win easily. Has winning 3 graded stakes given you any sort of a premonition about the Kentucky Derby?
I feel good. I really do, and I don't know, but I feel very good, to be honest with you.
Well, I think it's safe to say that this is one of the most regally bred horses in the world. At what point did you know you'd be walking over here the first Saturday in May with him?
Well, you never know, really, but he gave me a little chill the first time I worked over Medaglia d'Oro, so we knew we had a runner, but it takes a lot to get him over here.
Absolutely. When did you start mapping out his racing path to get him here?
After he broke his maiden. I decided I'd never run him short. I just wanted to run him 1.8 miles and no shorter than that.
Well, you know, Bob, I have to ask you about this much publicized bruised foot as you're walking over here with the Kentucky Derby favorite.
With all this adrenaline, he's feeling no pain.
Neither are you.
No pain.
Okay, what about Peace Rules? I mean, you have another horse in the card who has an excellent chance. Do you think he's been overlooked?
Oh, definitely been overlooked. He's a good horse. The only question I have is, like everybody else, is the distance. You know, the one horse I know will get the distance, and he's questionable, but he's a game horse.
Bobby, good luck to you. All right, Mike, going to you.
Thank you, Donna. With Wally DeLassy, the trainer of 10 Most Wanted. And Wally, this is your third walkover. Just tell us about how exciting this is. Everybody still has a chance to win at this point.
Oh, definitely. And boy, what a thrill for us. When I say us, I'm talking about my grandkids, my wife, and my son-in-law, and the owners are with me. And I'm just very, very excited. My daughter Amy's leading the horse over. Can't beat it.
You really can. And Craig, of course, saddled L.O. Love in the Oaks. Oh, let's get Cincy out of the mud there. Saddled L.O. Love in the Oaks. She won the Ashland. This is definitely a family horse.
Oh, definitely. And they work hard at it. And it might be our turn today. Who knows? We'll find out.
What happened with this horse before the Illinois Derby? How did he make such a dramatic improvement?
Well, he had a bad experience in his third race, and he was thinking about it in the fourth race. And then he had a very good experience with Pat Day on him last time he ran before the Illinois Derby, and it paid off because he was very relaxed going into the Illinois Derby, and he absolutely rated perfect.
Well, Wally, he looks great right now. He's walking over. He looks perfectly composed. The second choice right now. Good luck, Wally. Kenny Rice, over to you.
Thanks, Mike. In 1981, 18-year-old Jeff Mullins won his very first race. That was at LeBois Park in Boise, Idaho. The jockey was Gary Stevens. 22 years later, they're reunited with Buddy Gill, winner of the Santa Anita Derby. Jeff, Buddy Gill came to you in January. At that time, the owners at one time thought about putting him up in claiming races. Why did you decide that he was better than that?
Well, I just felt like the horse was going to get better. We give him a little bit of time and let him kind of tell us when it was time to go on. And the first time we raised him, this horse showed a lot of talent, and I didn't dare run him in a claiming race.
He has won 3 straight graded stakes, the last 2 in photo finishes. We talk a lot about guts and determination, but he really seems to have that.
He does have a lot of guts. I mean, the horse, you know, last time took a lot of dirt, and it caused him to bleed just a little bit, and he still dug down and got the job done. So I think if it comes down to an eyeball contest, we're going to get 100% from him, and that's all we can ask.
Okay, good luck, Jeff. Certainly, if Jeff and Gary are back in the winner's circle together today, that will be framed in the big picture and put on the wall at the Mullins house. Back to you, Tom.
I can imagine, Kenny. And, of course, Jerry Bailey hopes it's his picture that will be in the winner's circle. He's on Empire Maker, and right now he's with Bob Costas. Bob?
All right, Tom, we're with Jerry outside the jockey's room. Let's get right to it. Should all those people who bet on Empire Maker be concerned about the foot injury?
You know, I'm not a veterinarian, but I talked to Frankel the day before yesterday, and he said, Jerry, don't worry about it, so I'm not going to worry about it.
On paper, Empire Maker appears to be the best horse in the race. What combination of circumstances could defeat him today?
Well, I mean, extreme bad luck could, and that can happen in the Derby, but I can have a modicum of bad luck. Just a couple of little things don't go right. I can lose a little ground, and if he runs the races that he ran in the Wood Memorial and the Florida Derby, he could still win.
You've talked about this horse having Triple Crown potential.
I believe he does. The hardest thing to do is at the end go 1.5 miles, and I think that's his strongest suit. But before that, the hardest thing to do is to get through all these horses in the Derby.
Your son Justin is 10 years old. When you won your first Derby in '93 and your second in '96, he had just been born the first time. He's a 3-year-old the second time around, much like the horse who won. Grindstone was a 3-year-old, but he wasn't able to share it with you. Now at age 10, he could. You're 45. As the years go by, how important is it to you to win a Derby that you can share with your kid?
Well, it's been a driving force of mine for the last several years. Since he's been old enough to come and appreciate it and know what his father does. And I don't have very many years left. This might be my best chance the rest of my career, so it'd mean a lot to me to win it for him.
Jerry, good luck today.
Thanks, Bob.
Jerry Bailey. Let's go back to Tom.
All right, Bob, and there is the paddock where the horses will be saddled, the throng ringing it, and right now Peace Rules has been one that's been acting up a bit. We noticed Peace Rules brought over earlier in the week to school in the paddock, as they say, to give them a chance to become familiar with those surroundings, and he was a little agitated then, and he has been settled down at the moment, but perhaps a little worked up in the paddock. Peace Rules, the other Bobby Frankel horse. Back to Churchill Downs right after this. The 129th running of the Kentucky Derby is brought to you by Visa, proud sponsor of the Visa Triple Crown. The Derby is all about tradition, and here is a Derby tradition, the official photo of the jockeys as the fans eyeball the horses in the paddock, roaming around now and awaiting the trainers and jockeys to join them there. The jockeys just a moment ago having their official photo made to document the riders in the Kentucky Derby. Well, Charles, those horses will soon be saddled in the paddock, and equipment has been very much in the news here. In fact, a piece of equipment has helped Empire Maker, and that's what I'm talking about. Connections. Hope it does the same for him.
Well, when a horse isn't performing up to expectations, a trainer will often turn immediately to a set of blinkers. They limit the horse's peripheral vision, focus their attention straight ahead, and makes them more rapid, and that's a good thing in a racehorse. Bobby Frankel put them on Empire Maker. He responded by winning his next 2 starts. That's what I'm talking about. Who you're looking at there is going to be wearing blinkers today for the very first time. That's a bold move in a race of this caliber, but he did not perform up to expectations in the Santa Anita Derby. They're still a little baffled as to exactly why. He's trained well in these blinkers. They're very small cups. They're not very severe. Empire Maker doesn't have his on yet, but they are very, very effective.
Well, Empire Maker has continued as the favorite, but only lukewarm. Nothing like the 6-5 morning line odds. Recheck. Super Blitz and Brancusi still long shots. That's what I'm talking about. And Peace Rule has been holding steady at 7 all afternoon. Buddy Gill at 6, 9-1 on Indian Express, 3-1 Empire Maker, so he's gone down now to 3-1 odds. Eye of the Tiger, 10 cents a shine, and out of here are the long shots. 5 most wanted at 5-1 still, and Scrimshaw at 14-1. Well, it is somewhat shocking that Empire Maker has been going down steadily, but nowhere near what we expected. Let's go to the handicappers, and maybe they can sort things out.
Tom, there is nothing certain in life but death, taxes, and Mike Battaglia picking the favorite in the Kentucky Derby. So what else is new?
You know what? This is a lukewarm favorite, 3-1. I still think this horse is going to go down. I cannot believe that this horse is sitting up there at 3-1. He should be 6-5. I know you have to be an idiot to pick the favorite. I love this favorite. I think he stands out against this field. Bobby Frankel is a magician. He's going so good right now. Look at the way this horse won the Wood Memorial. You watch Jerry Bailey, that's funny side on the inside of him. He's not looking at him. He was looking outside to see if anything else was coming. There was nothing else coming. He was never worried. He knew he had the horse on the inside beat. He could have drawn off. He could have won this race by as many lengths as Jerry Bailey wanted him to win. Bobby Frankel has brought this horse into the race off 4 straight mile and an 1/8 races. No other horse has ever come into the Derby off 4 straight mile and an 1/8. He's been prepping this horse for the Derby since his first race. He's bred to get the mile and a quarter. He's going to love the added distance. This horse is a standout. He wins by many.
Mike, it's all well and good if this was Wednesday at Podunk Downs, but this is the Kentucky Derby. And you know and I know that the favorite never wins the Derby. Won for the last 23, so hey, he looks good on paper, but let's take the shopping cart and push it down some of the other aisles. And one of them is 10 Most Wanted, and he is the steam horse of this week, the hot horse. He's been working brilliantly. This race in the Illinois Derby was sensational under Pat Day. Has the right style for the race with Patient Pat coming from the back. My only question to him, is he a one-race wonder? Then you go to Peace Rules. He's won 4 in a row. He's won 5 out of his last 6. He showed in the Louisiana Derby that he's versatile enough to come from off the pace. My question about him,
Bobby Frankel,
is the distance.
He doesn't even speak in the same breath about this horse in Empire Maker.
I said the question is the distance. Now we come to the meat of the meal. No. Good stuff saved for last.
Okay.
The Santa Anita Derby. Buddy Gill and Indian Express. This was a corker of a stretch drive. Indian Express, who ran a courageous race on the inside. Buddy Gill on the outside. Buddy won it by a head. Indian Express, the Baffert trainee, has only run 4 times. I mean, you have to go back to the Woodrow Wilson administration to find a winner that has run only 4 times. Courageous, but Buddy Gill is the choice. No negatives. 3 for 3, should set a nice mid-pack trip under the veteran head of Gary Stevens.
Empire Maker, gets the job done. Maker, the biggest cinch since Holy Bull.
How'd he make out?
He finished 12th, but this one's going to win.
And here is the way the Cybercappers see the race. 10 Most Wanted, and Empire Maker getting 17% and Buddy Gill 11%. Only one favorite has won since '79. I don't know how long it's been since Mike and Bob picked a winner. Well, you know, it's now been 25 years since the last Triple Crown winner, affirmed in 1978. It had also been 25 years between Triple Crown winners back in 1973. Citation had swept the series, but few were thinking sweep in 73. That's the subject of our Buick Derby moment.
Years ago, when Secretariat came to Louisville, many experts had doubts about his ability to get the 1.25 mile distance. Now, of course, we realize how great he was. But after a loss in the Wood Memorial, his last prep before the 1973 Derby, there were skeptics. Silencing his critics, Secretariat not only won the race on his way to the Triple Crown, but set a 1.25 mile track record that still stands.
Back at Churchill Downs on Derby Day, there's Kent DeSormo, Pat Day right behind him. The jockeys have been given the call to report to the paddock. They'll go down those steps into the saddling paddock where they'll consult with their trainers one final time. There's Jerry Bailey, who is aboard the favorite Empire Maker. And Empire Maker has been steadily moving downward in the odds. That's what I'm talking about now, up to 8 as Peace Rules continues at 7-1. Buddy Gill 6-1, 9-1 Indian Express, 3-1 on Empire Maker. 10 cents to shine, 32-1. That's one of the Wayne Lucas trainees, as is Scrimshaw at 14-1. 10 Most Wanted continues to rank as the second choice at 5-1. There's the favorite Empire Maker as Bobby Frankel talks with Jerry Bailey before the call for Riders Up when we come back. The scene in the saddling paddock for the 129th Kentucky Derby as post time approaches for the race.
Riders up!
And there is the call, Riders Up, from the paddock judge. Jockeys given a leg up by their trainers. There's Super Blitz, Rosemary Homeister aboard, Brancusi, and the French jockey Tony Farina. And as the riders go up, they make a half circle there of the paddock, and then they'll head for the tunnel. Make their way to the track. That's Jose Santos on Funny Side. We didn't see any problems really to speak of in the paddock as the horses were there. Bob Baffert with a leg up for 20-year-old Tyler Bays aboard Indian Express. And there's Empire Maker, the favorite. Bobby Frankel gives Jerry Bailey a leg up. Next in line, Eye of the Tiger and Abar Koa. But most eyes on Empire Maker.
Empire Maker is schooled very well in the paddock here. That's sometimes been a question about his behavior in the paddock, and he was very quiet and docile every time they brought him over. So clearly his difficult temperament is not going to be an issue today.
And shortly, that grand moment, the playing of my old Kentucky home, the contrast between a song full of nostalgia and the anticipation of what will shortly unfold, a look back, a look to a hopeful future, and it all begins with a call to the post.
Staff and horsemen of Churchill Downs proudly present the 129th running of the Kentucky Derby. Please rise for the playing of My Old Kentucky Home. Churchill Downs is pleased to welcome the University of Louisville Marching Band directed by Dr. Frederick Speck. My Old Kentucky Home.
the 16 horses for the 129th running of the Kentucky Derby. Number 1, Super Blitz, 0 for 5 this year, ridden by Rosemary Homeister Jr., only the 5th lady jockey in the Kentucky Derby. None have ever won. The junior to differentiate between her mother, who's a trainer in Florida. Number 2, Brancusi, an international tint here. Michael Tabor's an Englishman, the owner. Patrick Biancone and Tony Farina, transplanted Frenchman, second in the Bluegrass Stakes his last start. 3, Sir Cherokee, scratched. Number 4, that's what I'm talking about. A huge horse with a mean streak. In fact, trainer Ron Ellis has the bites to prove it. Blinkers on for this race. 4th in the Santa Anita Derby, and a bit of a disappointment in that race. The 5 horses, Peace Rules. Bobby Frankel's, quote, other horse. He's the richest in the race, $1,124,000, but millionaires coming into the Derby are 0 for 18, but he's won 4 in a row, including the Bluegrass. The 6 horses, Funny Side, trying to become the first gelding since Clyde Van Dusen in 1929 to win the Derby. They're 0 for 74 since. It would also be the first New York bred to win, second to Empire Maker in the Wood Memorial. The 7-horse Awfully Wild battled a lung infection, was off from February to April, then ran 3rd in the Bluegrass. 42 years TV Smith has been training. This is his first Derby horse. The 8 is Buddy Gill. Idaho connection here, though he was bred in Kentucky, raised on a farm in Idaho. Owner, trainer, jockey, all with Idaho connections. He's won 3 in a row, including the Santa Anita Derby. The 9-horse is Indian Express, trained by Bob Baffert, the one that began his career in Panama and the only Utah bred ever in the Kentucky Derby. Baffert calls him his Panamanian Ute, a sensational second in the Santa Anita Derby. The 10-horse Lone Star Sky, 0 for 4 this year. The only horse from last year's Breeders' Cup Juvenile to make it to the Kentucky Derby in 2003. 11 of the Kentucky Derby. So the horses are on the track for the Derby. And the 129th running of the Kentucky Derby. Brought to you by Visa, proud sponsor of the Visa Triple Crown. By Michelob Ultra, lose the carbs, not the taste. By Goodyear, reminding you to take all your journeys on the wings of Goodyear. And by New Berry Burst Cheerios.
This is the moment. It's the first Saturday in May, Kentucky Derby Day. Empire Maker is the chosen one. But the challengers are plenty, and they're ready to pounce. "129 years of action, of emotion, of horse racing's best, all beneath the twin spires of Churchill Downs. Someone's dreams are about to come true."
We're about a minute till post time for the Kentucky Derby. We'll update you on the odds there. 7-1 Peace Rules, 6 on Buddy Gill. Empire Maker now at 5-2, so it has gone down significantly. There he is, number 12, and Charles, the Empire Maker is one to watch as they load in the starting gate.
Well, we've made note of his eccentric behavior. He has sometimes been sulky to load in the gate. Therefore, he has stood in the gate quite often. It's a common procedure with racehorses. It helps them settle. You take them to the gate, let them stand, back them out. They don't break. Bobby Frankel has schooled him extensively, but he had a little clash of philosophy with Roger Nagel, who is the head starter here at Churchill Downs. Bobby likes for the door to be open, as you see in the shot right there. Likes for the door to be open so the horse can see down the racetrack. They'll walk in more readily. Roger Nagel does not care to do that with his horses, and it'll be interesting to see. We need to watch right now to see how they load Empire Maker, because the starting gate can be a tripping point in his very smooth sail through the paddock and warm-up today.
Well, Donna Barton Brothers is out there on horseback, giving a close look to Empire Maker and others. Donna?
Yeah, Tom, I talked to all of the connections of the Derby starters this morning and over actually the past week, and everybody said that their horses were good, well-behaved. They didn't expect for the crowds to be a problem, and unbelievably, the crowd hasn't been a problem. We've got 16 head of horses out here, and not one of them has turned a hair. That's good to see. Looks like a fair playing field, Tom.
Bob Newmeyer.
When Jerry Bailey won the Kentucky Derby aboard Sea Hero and Grindstone, he credited a traffic-free trip. How does he do it? He told me earlier in the week that what he likes to do is pick out a quality speed horse and follow him to stay out of trouble. In other words, he doesn't want to get stopped behind a horse that might stop at the half-mile pole or the three-quarters. So look for Jerry Bailey. If he ducks, and he said it might either be Peace Rules, number 5, it could be Indian Express, number 9, it even could be Funny Side, number 6. Depends how he breaks, depends where he is, but he likes to follow a speed horse as long as he can to stay out of that critical traffic in the stretch. Huh?
All right, Bob, and there is the starting gate as they come to it now. We told you the Sir Cherokee was scratched. He was the 3 horse, so they're going to leave the inside stall, the one closest to the rail, vacant. They move Super Blitz and Brancusi out 1 stall, and they'll have 16 in a row lined up to start this 1.25 mile Kentucky Derby.
And we've talked about the pace scenario. Indian Express, the Bob Baffert horse, is very, very rapid. I can expect to see him on the lead. Peace Rules and Funny Side should be right in there behind him. And here is Empire Maker. Let's see how he loads. This is kind of the moment of truth for him, because you start a fight with this colt. He's very, very difficult personality-wise. If they fight with him, it is not going to be a good scene. He is, can't see whether the doors are open yet, but he keeps swinging his rear end around to the side, and then they need to get him to go straight in. And usually when doors are closed, there you see the front shut, and that is what Bobby would prefer to have had him loaded with the doors open. There's Bobby watching. This is something, there we go. Loads right in. Bobby certainly would be relieved now.
And so Empire Maker is in, and now for the call of the 129th Kentucky Derby, let's go to Tom Durkin.
And the final horses taking their spot. There goes Funny Side into his post position. The odds board now reading 5-2 on the favorite, Empire Maker, who was bred for greatness, and this is his chance to prove it right now. He stands in the starting gate, the favorite in the 129th Kentucky Derby. There goes the blue collar, Buddy Gill, into his post position. Out of here, who's been running in some pretty exotic ports lately. Number 9, Indian Express, a horse that may very well be the front runner. Also another horse you might look out, he's breaking right next to Empire Maker, that could be on the lead, is Eye of the Tiger. And there goes 10 Most Wanted, who has been training sensationally. And there is a record 41st starter, Scrimshaw, for trainer D. Wayne Lukas in the run.